A good evening and welcome to the English News Bulletin. For this edition, we trust you have had a fulfilling and restful Saturday. In tonight's edition, we will focus primarily on the election campaigns that commenced today. Now let's kick off with the headlines. The presidential candidate of the RPF Inkotanyi Party, Paul Kagame, has begun his countrywide campaign for re-election in Musanze district of the Northern Province by thanking all Rwandans for the way they have continued to work with the country's leadership to transform the future. Analysts of African politics reiterate that Rwanda consistently shows uniqueness in organizing peaceful elections compared to other African countries. My name is Olive Nete. It's always a pleasure to have your company. Welcome to English News in Details. The presidential candidate of the RPF Inkotanyi Party, Paul Kagame, has begun his countrywide campaign for re-election in Musanze district of the Northern Province by thanking all Rwandans for the way they have continued to work with the country's leadership to transform the future, thanks to the unique and effective strategy of the RPF Inkotanyi despite the terrible past that had to be endured here in Rwanda. The candidate was welcomed by hundreds of thousands of supporters at Busogo with cheers and expressions of confidence rampant, with those interviewed saying the confidence for the future is based on the achievements of the past 30 years, which is why they have decided that the RPF's candidate is still the best choice for president moving forward. Paul Kagame also thanked other political parties that have continued to work with the RPF to develop the country, and also those gathered that the choices of Rwandans are not something that can be imported but must be made right here in Rwanda.
Ntabwo demokarasi uhitirwamo, nta uguhitiramo, ni wewe wihitiramo.
When it comes to democracy, no one can choose for you. That is something you must do for yourself. That is how it should be understood here and elsewhere, even in the places it is said that democracy originated. In those places of its origin, no one chooses for them. That is the reason they do not have a right to choose for others.
N'impamvu rero nabwo batafite uburenganzira bwo guhitiramo abandi.
Paul Kagame of the RPF Inkotanyi is being supported by 8 other political parties in this year's presidential elections. Moving forward, the independent presidential candidate, Philippe Mpayimana, has also launched his countrywide campaign by calling on Rwandans to appreciate the achievements the country has made by understanding that they should be used as a foundation for change and even greater achievements in the future. He began his campaign activities in Kirehe district of the Eastern Province, where he pointed out that even though there is much to be happy about when it comes to how far Rwanda has come since 1994, much more needs to be done, which he said he could make a priority if he were to be elected to the highest office in the country. He announced key strategies that would be implemented from his 50-point manifesto and called for the support of all Rwandans to make it happen. He also commented on the elections themselves, saying he wants to make a few things clear about his campaign.
If my objective is to win the elections, then that is what I am focusing on. On the issue of attacking other candidates, we discussed that at length and decided that it is not our strategy because we are competing, and that doesn't have to include attacking others. As Rwandans, we understand that this is an opportunity for new leadership, and we are confident that it will happen. And afterwards, all will be content, be it those who stood for election or those who cast their votes.
Buri muntu wese mu bazaba biyamamaje n'abazaba batoye azumva yuko ibintu byagenze neza.
Philip Maimana also campaigned in Goma district, also of the Eastern Province, where he thanked local residents for coming out to hear his message. On Sunday, his second day of campaigning is expected in the districts of Kayonza and Rwamagana, sticking to the Eastern Province as he begins his campaigning activities. This is the second time he has stood for election in a presidential race. Still speaking about campaigns, during the Green Party campaign on Saturday, the candidate on the position of President of the Republic, Frank Habineza, stated that if elected, he is ready to work towards achieving food security and reducing unemployment rates, especially among the youth. He aims to create 500,000 jobs per year. The campaign activities kicked off this Saturday in Bweramvura, Jabana sector, Gasabo district. During this event, the 50 deputy candidates who will represent the party in the parliamentary elections were introduced at the party's action plan. Should they win was also explained. Members of the Green Party expressed their readiness to prioritize programs related to well-being and development of the people, building on their previous achievements. Frank Habineza, the Green Party's presidential candidate, expressed his gratitude for the warm reception from the government institutions and others who came to follow upon the Green Party campaign. He emphasized that the Green Party is a party that keeps its promises. Habineza stated that they are committed to helping people achieve food security and find employment.
Is to increase the employment opportunities among the young people, because the unemployment rate among the young people is at 22% according to the National Statistics Office. So we are going to create, to establish agro-processing industries in all 416 sectors in the country, whereby the young people, youth and others who want to work can be able to do something which is particular in that area. So we hope that we can create about 500,000 jobs a year. Economy cannot be there when we have not eaten. So we are having a plan to food security, make sure that every Rwandan will have enough food to eat at least 3 times a day, because now we are relying on food imports from across, even from India, from Bangladesh, Tanzania and elsewhere. So we want to have sufficient food. So we are going to increase our budget in agriculture, so that every person can be able to have something to do, but we can have enough food on our table. So when we talk about food security, food security, we also talk about food safety.
Members of the Green Party campaign with the confidence that they will fulfill their promises. The party also plans to increase doctors' salaries to improve healthcare services. The Green Party began its political activities in Rwanda in 2009 and was officially recognized as a political party in 2013. In 2017, it presented a candidate for the position of President of the Republic, and in 2018, it participated in the parliamentary elections, securing enough votes for 2 seats in the parliament. In 2019, the party gained a senator in the Senate. Moving ahead, the Social Democratic Party has begun its parliamentary electoral campaign in Nyamata sector of Bugesera district in the Eastern Province. In the presidential elections, the party decided to endorse the RPF Inkotanyi's candidate, the incumbent Paul Kagame. They will campaign for 3 weeks, the campaign concluding on the 13th of July, a day before Rwandans in the diaspora vote. People in the country will vote on the 15th, and the party's campaign trial is expected to end in the district here in Kigali. Still on campaigns, the PS Imberakuri political party has also launched its campaign in the parliamentary elections, choosing to start in Kayonza district of the Eastern Province. Local residents there came out to hear what the party's candidates have to offer, hearing promises for the future on how to deal with the different challenges the country has continued to face. Unlike in 2017, this time around, PS Imberakuri will not field a candidate in the presidential elections, choosing to focus its efforts on the parliamentary elections. Moving ahead, Janvier Nsengiyumva, the independent candidate in the parliamentary elections, has begun his campaign in Muhanga district of the southern province, vowing to fight for the benefit of all Rwandans if elected. Janvier Nsengiyumva says as parliamentarian he would make every effort to meet the people often to get a true feel of their needs and would work to ensure that their voices are heard. The candidate also went to Kamonyi district on the first day of his campaign and says he will use things like umuganda activities to get his message out while interacting with local residents in different parts of the country. You're still watching RTV News. Now, analysts of African politics reiterate that Rwanda consistently shows uniqueness in organizing peaceful elections compared to other African countries. This is being said as in less than a month, Rwandans will take part in presidential and parliamentary elections. Prince Mazi with the details.
In Africa, when it comes to elections, violence and instability often rise in the mid-course or after the process, mainly due to politicians opposing the results. In Rwanda, in the last 30 years, elections have been held and there have been no riots or insecurity related to the process. Rather, peace and stability have been the norm. Just like the previous elections, citizens express that they are ready for this year's elections. Yes, elections in Rwanda are like a wedding ceremony. We are ready. Most of the residents are aware. What remains is for the day to reach and exercise it early in the morning.
We are safe because we know what to do. Since when you are going to wed, it requires you to be safe and sound. Every Rwandan is safe, ready for the elections to go well.
Safety and consciousness, stated by the citizens, analysts find it to be the uniqueness of Rwandans compared with other African countries. This is Daniel Escornet, a French author and analyst.
Les Africains voient le Rwanda comme quelque chose de très positif.
Africans see good things about Rwanda, and I think maybe that's what burdens some people. Rwanda may not have been reached its destination, but it is an example of what is possible. There's no country as safe as Rwanda, even in the few days remaining before the elections. In Africa, it rarely happens.
D'une élection présidentielle. En Afrique, ça n'existe pas.
The fact that the elections in Rwanda are still being held peacefully today is not automated, as analyzed by Domitira Mukanaganzwa, a lawyer and political expert. Mukanaganzwa affirms that this was achieved through the choice of Rwandans themselves after experiencing a bad political history.
The leadership of the country had to take note of the history Rwandans faced, accept various ideas from citizens, and have a plan and discuss it. And that is how the Consultative Forum of Political Parties was introduced in the Constitution.
Mukanaganzwa adds that the achieved in 30 years should set an example for the youth towards a developing country and prevent discriminative politics.
Rwandans are dreaming big. Killings and divisionism was the past. In addition, most of them were affected in some way. But we do not want the youth that is now 60% of Rwandans to live again in discrimination and instabilities.
Rwanda has chosen consensus policy and democracy as part of an exchange of ideas aimed at building the country and sharing power as contained in the Constitution of the Republic of Rwanda.
Moving ahead, Rwandans in the diaspora are actively preparing for the presidential and parliamentary elections scheduled for next month. Their preparations include registering on the voting list and ensuring they have all necessary resources. We have more on the story. According to the Rwandan Embassy in the United Arab Emirates, 1,300 Rwandans reside in the UAE, with a significant number living in Dubai due to business-related work. China also hosts a large Rwandan community, including many students pursuing their education. Kasim Kaganda lives in Dubai in UAE, while Habimana Simbi Claudien resides in Beijing in China.
Abanyarwanda batuye muri ubu mujyi muri iki gihugu cya UAE turiteguye cyane. Kugeza ubu
As Rwandans living in the UAE, we are very ready. Almost 100% of Rwandans living here have already been registered. We thank the embassy and other institutions in Rwanda that facilitated the process, ensuring it went smoothly. Now we are all set. Preparations are going well on our side. We have no problems so far and are just waiting for the 14th of July to elect the president and the parliamentarians. I would say that everything is currently going well. The diaspora in China is ready.
Rwandans living in diaspora are staying informed about the campaign activities that started this Saturday through various media outlets, including TV, radio and social media platforms. Muvunyi Innocent, residing in Bangkok, Thailand, and Abayizera Dieudonné, living in Spain, are among those following the campaigns closely.
The internet has made it easy to follow RB and other media outlets online. Through this, we get to know about various programs, including the campaign programs of candidates. I have decided to follow the campaign programs of various candidates online wherever they are campaigning, to learn about their plans for Rwandans. Elections are meant to elect leaders who understand the problems of residents so that they can resolve issues promptly and transparently. These are the leaders that we want.
The National Electoral Commission appreciates the willingness of Rwandans living in the diaspora to participate in the elections. According to figures released by the Commission this week, over 60,000 Rwandans have already registered to vote. Charles Munyaneza, the Executive Secretary of the National Electoral Commission, noted that in collaboration with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they have begun transporting election equipment to countries where Rwandans will vote.
We are carrying out preparations with Rwandans living abroad. They have started receiving the equipment needed for elections. We will not wait until the elections. Together with Minafet, we are working on it.
The National Electoral Commission indicates that Rwandans abroad are expected to vote in 70 countries at 144 sites. Rwandans in the diaspora are expected to vote on the 14th of July. And on behalf of the technical and news production team, we sincerely thank you for being part of our today's broadcast. Have a restful weekend. Take care and goodbye.